So the reality is that most musicians are working multiple jobs, okay, 2 to 3 income streams, juggling their own schedules, and it's not a simple fix. Find the talent and off you go. Unfortunately, you're working with their schedules. And so because of that, it made it extra difficult to find someone with the right skill set, let alone with the right availabilities. And for all good reason, this is the gig economy, and musicians really need to, and I totally advocate for having multiple income streams. But it just makes it super difficult, especially for me over this time. Not only that, my offshore rep, who was with us for 2 years, who was managing a lot of the follow-ups, the enrolments, and the sales, and the accounts, had left. So that put me in an even more difficult position to have to step even further into the front lines and even chase accounts, let alone enrolments, timetabling, all the spaces, I started off doing when I first started this business, which ain't a good feeling, especially if you have spent about 16 years building a company and all these systems to have to delegate and to be leading from the front. It ain't nice. So I tried the traditional legacy job sites, LinkedIn, Seek. Probably about 4 years ago, I had more interest and more opportunities through that. These days, it's practically close to dead. I'm finding the generations have moved on. People are really searching for, opportunities through, socials more than anything, especially our market. LinkedIn is an absolute shithole, if you ask me, when it comes to finding talent in the music industry, unless you're an executive, unless you're actually a company. That's a whole different story. But for finding talent, coaches, artists, musicians, performers, I had to go scavenging through, DMs and Instagrams, and let alone, having to kind of not come across desperate in the process. So that's a whole art within itself. But thankfully, through some existing team members, the word was quickly pushed out, and we happened to find one of the coaches out of 2 that we needed at the time. Yeah, so there's an irony here with regards to finding the right talent, because you see a lot of the right talent have already started their own coaching or teaching practice, which is awesome. We'd love to see that, but that means that their availability and potential income threshold is a little bit tough to negotiate with. So on that note, it made it even tougher to find talent, to find the right professional talent. Thankfully, we did, and it was a combination of sort of luck and timing, where you find someone who's transitioning into maybe more of a teaching or coaching career. And that's what we happened to find, which is great, but it wasn't easy. What life looked like for me as an owner-operator was back onto the spreadsheets, back onto the timetables, back on the emails, back on the phones, and doing everything I can to not just lose revenue, but to also find two staff members that could fill the 4 shifts, and to also maintain relationships with the community to make sure that they felt confident that we would find the same, if not better, talent that would take over. And that's a tricky one, because a lot of these students have developed really close relationships, and we are in the industry of relationships. So the second someone says, I'm leaving, it's a real blow, not just for the company, but for the students as well. So in addition to all of this, which we're, hours a day, having to manage timetables, having to find replacements, having to move schedules around and move students around, because some of the transitional staff that were coming on as fill-ins also had, conflict issues with their schedules. I lost my offshore sales rep, which meant that I had to now lose on follow-ups on all these warm and hot leads that we had built up over the series of marketing campaigns prior. Now you spend hundreds, if not thousands, of marketing and getting leads. And if you're not sure about, the turnaround rates and the success rate in leads, but if you don't contact that lead within a few minutes, chances of you losing that sale drop by about 80%. So that's actually what happened for us, which was a massive blow. So in one aspect, we're trying to hold on to existing clientele, okay, keep the boat sailing. And on another side of things, you're losing potential revenue because there's only so many hours in the day and so much time I can divide between the two roles. So that was a real blow, massive blow. I hadn't experienced something like this probably ever, where I had two important staff members leave at once. So that was a big blow, not just financially, but also emotionally. And as a founder who has spent, 16 and a half, close to 17 years building this company, and making sure all the plates are spinning and everyone's got their roles, it's a massive blow to the ego. And so you have to really get beyond yourself and realize now you got to lead from the front. You've got to be, this is what true entrepreneurs and founders do. When there's a bottleneck in the business, they need to come to the front. They need to get their hands dirty and solve that issue as soon as possible. Once it's solved, they need to get out of the way and let the business operate and continue to run. So throughout this process, you kind of split up, parts of you really want to focus on the thing that you're good at and the thing that drives the business forward, which is marketing and sales, which means bringing in revenue, the lifeblood of the business. And then there's this other part, which, is saving the ship from sinking, and making sure your cash flow doesn't go into the red. So this is kind of where I was torn between the two worlds. And this is why every hour, every minute is so precious because, as a dad and running a business, I've only got so much time to dedicate to managing all this. Once school pickup comes along, it's game over. I'm dad. And so I've got literally 6 hours a day to manage this whole thing and continue kind of solving, putting out the fires, and then essentially building everything back to the way it was with a new team. Yeah, so one thing it taught me was I'd never want this to happen again, right? Having a strong recruitment model and not having to rely on legacy job sites was my top priority. So what that meant is I'm now continually on the hunt for talent. And through doing more content, things like this, I'm putting it out there continually. Okay. And it's not to say that I want to replace my team. Love my team. They're all selected for a really good reason. But, you've got to be prepared. Yeah, so one of the things we do, this is exactly the same principle that we apply within our band. So we have multiple bands that we train and develop here in Music Valley, and we've seen it happen. One of the band members after a year moves on, that position is open. The band members start to kind of wonder what's going on because no one's leading, no one's, filling the drum part or the lead vocal part. So we've learned over the years, you've got to have contingencies for absolutely everything. You've got to have, this is why companies also invest so much in a recruitment firm to continually have the talent ready and waiting when that opportunity, not if, but when that opportunity happens. And that enables the business to continue to move forward quicker and not be at the mercy of, people's decisions to move on, which is great. You want people to move on, but you also want to make sure that your company is not being affected because people choose to move on. Having gone through this, having learned lessons the tough way to make sure that we've got extra contingencies in place, that we've got, potential talent ready and waiting on standby if one, someone gets sick, two, they leave, has been a crucial lesson. The other thing is, for studio owners listening to this who might be also building a team and have a team, and then this resonates with you, there is also another way that we found to make sure, we can put contingencies to mitigate losing revenue. This involves structuring your business in such a way that capitalizes on your talent and on the existing team members. But I'm going to save that for the next episode. So I hope this episode resonates with you. As I said, please give me your feedback and let us know in the comments what topics you'd like me to share. Each week, I'm going to be reviewing those. I read those and I really value those. Connect with me on Instagram at steve.jazz. And until next time, I'll see you inside the valley.
Thanks for tuning in. If today's conversation sparks something in you, drop a review or send this to a person in the industry who you think needs to hear it. And if you're someone who's done playing small and ready to take your music or career to the next level, we'd love to talk. There's a link in the show notes to book a call with us. Let's explore how we can help you plan your next move and reach your goals faster. But most importantly, if you're listening to this right now, I want you to know I hear you, I see you, I appreciate you, and my team and I believe in you. With the right environment and the right team in your corner, anything is possible. I can't wait to see you again inside the valley.